So for this recipe, we are going to start with some chicken. I have chicken thighs here. You can use chicken breast if you prefer, but I'm using chicken thighs, one, because they're cheap, and two, they tend to be a little easier to shred. I'm just going to cook these in the oven to throw into some soup. And when I do chicken breasts, sometimes they can come out a little dry and they can be a little hard to shred. So I use thighs because they're a little more tender and they're much easier to shred. So I've got some oil in the bottom of the pan, and just so they don't stick, and I'm going to drizzle a little more on the top, and I'm going to coat them in fajita seasoning. You can use the store-bought fajita seasoning packets or whatever if you prefer, but this is my homemade fajita seasoning, and I promise you've probably got everything that you need in your spice rack already. And this stuff here is 1,000 times better than anything you can buy at the store. This stuff is fabulous. So I'm just going to sprinkle it on the chicken thighs and coat them and put them in a 350-degree oven just until they're cooked through. Alright, now we're going to start working on the soup. I've got some garlic, an onion, and 2 small bell peppers here. And you can use green if you prefer, but we like the different colored ones. Those are a snack. Don't mind those. You can use black beans if you prefer. Usually when I make anything, you know, Hispanic, Mexican, however, whatever you want to call it, I use black beans, but I don't have any black beans, so I'm using pinto beans instead today. But then again, you can use any bean that you want. And I have 8 cups of chicken stock. This is my home canned chicken stock. You can use bouillon, the powder, the base, whatever you have, just 8 cups. And you'll need a 15-ounce can of the tomato juice, or tomatoes, diced tomatoes. Again, I don't have any. I have this little pint of our tomatoes from the garden this summer, and then I have some fresh tomatoes on hand. So I'm going to use these in place of the big can. And I had paste, but I just don't think that's going to work. So I've got this here, and then some more of my fajita mix. So my pan is heating up, and then we'll start cooking. Add the tomatoes in and let them start cooking down just a little. You see how much juice they're letting off already. I don't know if you can see all the juice. And I'm going to let them cook for just a few minutes, and then I will add the tomatoes, the pinto beans, and all of the chicken stock. And I'm going to add 2 tablespoons of my fajita seasoning mix. If you don't have the mix or you don't want to make it, just add 1 whole packet. It's all in. I'm going to put a lid on it and just let it keep cooking until the chicken's ready and until we're ready to eat it. So let this cook, and then after it's cooked a little while, I will taste it just for seasoning purposes, but it's just about ready. So the chicken's done, and I've just taken 2 forks and just shredded them apart. I'm going to put them in here, and I haven't seasoned yet because this still has a bunch of seasoning on it. I don't want to over season and make it like really salty. So we got sweet tea going too. So I'm going to add the chicken and let it cook for just a few minutes, and then I'll taste it for seasoning. All the chicken's been shredded and put in, and I kept it pretty big because I want nice hearty pieces of chicken. So I'm just going to let this cook just a little bit longer. I'm going to leave the lid off, and I've got it on low. So I'm just going to turn it to about 3, and I'm just going to let it go. I'm just going to let it cook down and come together, and in just a minute I will taste it to make sure I don't need any more seasoning. So this is done, and I wound up adding an extra tablespoon of seasoning, but it is ready to go. I'm going to add a bunch of chopped spinach to it. You don't have to, but I like green stuff. And I'm going to serve it with some sour cream, some fresh shredded cheddar cheese, and I've got some cilantro here that I'm about to chop as well. So grab your bowl. I've got sour cream, cheese, and some cilantro. Do it however you like. Hope you enjoy.